Okay, good evening and welcome to the Morrison County Board of Adjustment public hearing for March 4th, 2025. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I have a few items to cover before we get started. Please sign in at the door if you have not already done so. There you will also find a detailed handout of the step-by-step procedure we will follow tonight if you wish to take one. Please put any electronic devices on silent mode at this time. Also, please note that all testimony is being recorded for the record. Members of the Board of Adjustment are appointed by the County Board of Commissioners with one member from each of the 5 commissioner districts. Land Services staff is here to assist the Board of Adjustment with its duties. The task of the Board of Adjustment is to consider requests for variance and appeals from an order, requirement, or decision made by a county zoning official in accordance with the state law and county ordinance. Each request is considered on its own merit. The burden of proving a practical difficulty rests with the applicant. If a variance is granted, it's granted to the land, not to the landowner. There's a protocol for how we will proceed tonight. For each variance request on the agenda, we will hear a staff report, hear testimony from the applicants. The board will discuss and gather more information as needed. Next, I'll ask if there's anyone in the audience wishing to speak to the request. I'll ask each party to go to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and give their testimony. Please be as factual as possible and direct all statements and questions to me. After all testimony is complete, I will close the public hearing portion of the process. The board will then review and discuss the case in terms of the finding of fact criteria as required by Minnesota statute and county ordinance. We will have a series of votes, discuss whether conditions be made, and have a final motion to approve or deny the request based on those findings. After this final vote on your request, you may leave if you wish. Our first regular agenda item this evening is Andrew Alden, no property address yet, application for a variance to allow a type 3 septic on 2 lots. Come up to the podium here and please state your name and address for the record. You don't have an address, just state your name for the record.
Okay. Andrew Alden.
Okay, Miss Amy?
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'm just going to give you the highlights of this request. Again, the variance request is to allow the development of 2 parcels that cannot support a type 1 septic system. The ordinance sections that apply is 1301.12 and 1501.4. So those are those sections for you. Here's an aerial photograph of the properties that we're talking about, outlined in blue and yellow. And then here's some site photographs taken at the viewing on the 28th. And then here are the staff report highlights regarding this request. The subdivision was created in 2008. That was under the platting process. The Soil and Water Conservation District at that time did not perform a boots on the ground wetland evaluation at the time of plat creation. In looking back at the records, it was done like a desktop review. So that wasn't like field checked. However, soil types on site do include wetland soils, and that was acknowledged in that plat. The applicant's septic designer found a maximum of 8 inches of separation from the high water level. And in light of kind of the lack of a wetland evaluation in the past, Land Services will require a wetland delineation to determine the building envelope before issuance of land use permits. 40 notices were sent for this request and no comment was received. And then here are criteria questions, Mr. Chair.
Okay, anything to add to the summary there?
No, it seemed pretty straightforward.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I do have the full packet that you received, so if you want to refer to any documents, I can pull those up if you need to see them.
Okay, thank you. I'll open it up to the board here, and I'll start with one question to you, Amy. Back in 2008, when they did residential developments like this, was it not common to create a building envelope at the time?
That's the puzzling thing about this, is the platting requirements really have not changed that much. And so the the lack of a wetland determination in the field delineation and identification of a building envelope, and also identification of soils with 12 inches of separation was standard back in that time. I can tell you now, that would be vetted a little bit more than it was. I tried to look in the findings to see what exactly was going on, and I'm not quite sure. I don't have a whole lot of answers for you as to why the plat was accepted the way it was.
Understood. Thank you. Board members?
Mr. Chair,
Clint?
Amy, I got one question. I see here, it looks like it was faxed on 2005 here from the Treaders County edition. It says adequate soil has been found at this location for wastewater treatment. Did the rules change, or was it just the way they did it, or what?
No, and one thing I'll show, and I'll pull up
Okay.
what you were looking at. And that was, give me just a second
Yep, no
to find, which figure is that,
Figure
Clint?
2.
Figure 2? Okay, thank you. So when you look at that evaluation, and I'll pull it on over here, and I'll make it bigger. And I'll, give me just a second to rotate it. I'm not sure if I can.
That's fine, I can see it if everybody
Well,
else can.
so one
but-
thing is it says, it doesn't identify that it's a type 1.
Okay,
And also, there was another page to that I think it might be this one. Let me just see here. There was another page, and it says, it said possible locations only, not for design. Mounds are required on all lots. And then, there was a note in there. It says 10 to 17 inches. Well, so it's noting that there isn't 12.
yep.
So that's the part that's puzzling, because actually when the soil was done, it was acknowledging that there wasn't 12 inches of separation on the whole area. So it sounds like they just punched some holes to just kind of look at the soils and just made note of what they found. So, yeah, this is not the best. This is not the best example of what should be done with a plat.
Okay, yeah, because reading through it, I was kind of confused, and that's why I asked that question.
Yeah.
I thought maybe they just went and did the whole area, just one, and then they found a spot and said good enough, so
Yeah.
that's why I was confused on it, so that's why I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Clint. George, anything?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. We are going to move on to anyone in the audience wishing to speak to this request, please go up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and speak your piece. Any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Got asked 3 times. At this time, we will close this portion of the meeting to the public, and we will address the questions with our finding of fact criteria. Anything to add before we get started?
Mr. Chairman,
George?
probably want to look at a condition on this to add that soil and water needs to go outside and delineate wetlands prior to any building permits being pulled if we were to pass this tonight.
Along with the building envelope for the county?
Yep, along with the building envelope, yep.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
You absolutely can put a condition on there, but as part of our permitting process, we must know where the boundaries of that wetland are, because we can't permit something in a wetland. So that must happen regardless. So if you want a belt and suspenders approach and to put that as a condition, you absolutely can, but that'll just be as a matter of our permitting, that'll have to happen.
Yeah, we'll just leave it on there.
Okay.
Yep.
Good with that?
Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Chair.
Clint.
Just one more quick question. I guess I maybe should have thought of, Friday at our site visit, I should have brought it up, because then you would have had time to look. So you probably won't be able to answer this, Amy, but do we know what, like, that house where we drove in, do you know what kind of, if they have a type 1 or a type 3?
It has I'll tell you, it has a mound system. I'm not sure if it's a 1 or a 3.
After we left, I was like, I should have maybe
Yeah.
called and asked that,
I'm
because
not
you could have looked,
positive.
but, okay.
But I do know it has a mound.
Yep.
That does spark another question for me too, Mr. Chairman. Amy, so what about the developer right next to it? I believe most of those houses in there are all mounds too,
Yes.
next door.
Yes, I believe I think most of that area in general is mounds.
Yep.
So it doesn't surprise me that they're mounds, but you can have a type 1 mound.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Good to go? Yep. George, okay. Okay, first question, is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan? At this time, after visiting the site here and understanding a little bit more about the 2008 developments and then the note around, the Treader's note, which was a couple years before that, and then after visiting the site, it's zoned residential and it notes that mounds are the only way to go at this time, and I do believe it is. If not, I think we would have heard probably a few more items that suggested otherwise at this time, so I do believe it is in request with the harmony and general purposes. Clint or George? Okay, question 2. Is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the land use ordinance? George?
Yes, I believe so. 12 inches of separation is not available on either lot. Surrounding area is all residential, and each one of those residences would appear to have a type 1 or a type 3 mound system.
Okay. Thank you. Clint?
The only thing maybe I'd like to add is just, there's some things that have to get done before this happens anyways, with soil and water delineation and that type of thing and I think when we look at that lot from our site visit, just from my experience, yes, there's probably some wetlands there, but I think there's plenty, looking at the grass types that are growing, the tree types that are growing there, I believe there's plenty of room that they'll be able to find a spot that you could do a type 3. We don't necessarily have to do a type 3 on every one of these that ask, but I think looking at this particular lot that these two lots this gentleman is asking for, when you look at it and the size of them, and then also just the vegetation that's around, I think it's a pretty reasonable ask.
Thank you, Clint. I have nothing to add, so we'll move on to question 3. Will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? Clint?
I believe it will. There's a development just to the west of this location that are all mounds. It's similar in elevation and soil types all through there. That whole corridor, probably that section, I would say even. There's probably a high water table there, and that's what's making it tricky here. There's probably some, we know that there's some different wetlands involved here, but driving by, putting another house there, it's a good location to build, I believe, where there's already residential houses in there. They're nice sized lots. You drive by, you come from 10, you'll never see it with all the trees. It's on the end of that dead end road. You ain't gonna see it from County Road 214. So I think, yeah, it's it'll maintain the essential character in that area.
Thank you, Clint. George?
No, I'm good,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Question 4, is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? I'll take that one. I don't think there's much you can do about a report that comes in under 12 inches of soil, and then even the 2005 one that references under 12, so it's pretty cut and dry.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to add that part of this practical difficulty here today, maybe isn't quite with the sewer, but it's partially that way. It's just some of the legwork that wasn't done properly in the past, and the way the lots were formed. And I just think somewhere along the line, the due diligence didn't get met. And that's part of the reason why I think we're here today. If there was a big problem and it was done right back in them days, this gentleman probably wouldn't have purchased them lots. So I think that's part of it too.
Thank you, Clint. Okay, question 5, is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? George?
Well, the need for the variance, of course, is created by the lack of 12 inches separation for a type 1 septic, and the fact that the lots were developed well before some of the current septic codes, and I will add also the lack of probably the pertinent information at the time of the development was established.
Thank you, George. Clint? Okay, question 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Clint?
I believe so. When we look at it, he's just trying to be able to develop this lots that he's purchased and do it in a manner that is legally binding and do it the right way. And this is an allowable use with a variance. He's not trying to go the cheap route. You could look at other ways, maybe, I don't know, a holding tank may be cheaper to put in, but then it'd cost you more in the long run to pump it. That's never come up in a conversation. I think he's just trying to be able to build on a lot that I think there's some buildable building envelope on. We don't know that 100% until all the things to come for soil and water and that type of things that they got to look at it. But I do believe that there is a lot more to this practical difficulty than just economics.
Thank you, Clint. George?
No, I'm good, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Okay, before we go to the vote here, did we have the conditions on there, or is it going to happen anyway?
Mr. Chair, I believe that George wanted the condition on regardless.
Okay.
And my understanding is the condition that you would like to consider to be on there if this is approved, would that be that the property owner must delineate the wetland and identify the building envelope prior to applying for permits. Does that sound, have I framed that correctly?
Yep, perfect.
Perfect. Okay, that's what we're voting on. Question 1, is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan? John is yes. George?
Yes,
Clint?
Yes.
Is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the land use ordinance? George?
yes,
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Question 3, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. George?
yes,
Question 4, is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? John is yes. George?
yes,
Clint?
Yes.
Question 5, is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? George?
yes,
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Question 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. George?
yes,
All of the questions have been answered in the affirmative. Do I have a motion? Actually, do I have a motion to approve the?
Mr. Chairman, I would make that motion to approve this variance
Okay.
And I'll second with
Mr.
the,
Chair, is that with the condition?
with the condition, yes, I'm sorry.
and I'll second that with the conditions, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Motion was made by George, and seconded by Clint to approve the variance as requested. All in favor, say aye. George?
Aye.
Clint?
Aye.
And I, John, is aye. Your variance request is approved.
Okay, and that's both of them?
Yes, for both. And so now the next step is to chat with the Soil and Water Conservation District and get on their schedule, because permitting won't happen until they've been out there and then until you get a full septic design.
Yep.
And so you'll want to get on their schedule, so you're hopefully one of the first on the list when everything greens up.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Yep, can I get one of those Kleenexes?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Sign there, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item number 2, do we have any new or old business?
I don't have either one, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Approval of the minutes, February 18.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve our February 18th minutes.
I will second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are good.
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned at 6:21.